Okay, so a new vocab is multiplicity. And it's the number of times a root of an equation occurs when there is more than one root. So remember I was saying before how sometimes you solution multiple times, like 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, okay? There are some graphs where that could be the case. So instead of writing down that the solution is 2 100 times, you would say the solution is 2 multiplicity of 100. Does that make sense? Kind of like if you had, let's say you had this polynomial. What's the solution of that? X equals, I mean, if we wanted to, we could write x minus 2 how many times? Well, I don't have enough room, right? And so then if someone had said, what's the solutions? I would say x equals 2, x equals 2, x equals 2, x equals 2, x equals 2. 100 times. Or if I know the word multiplicity, another simpler way of saying that is the solution is x equals 2 multiplicity of 100. What that means is 2 is a solution 100 times. So multiplicity is just a new vocab word. So if you have duplicate solutions, I want you to start using the word multiplicity, okay? Instead of listing the solution twice or 3 times. Am I making sense so far?
So whatever is squared by is multiplicity?
Well, like this is to the 100th power. So it has 100 solutions, which would be x minus 2 100 times. When you said x minus 2 equal to 100, that would be 2. Did I answer your question? Okay. So a little more realistic, you're not going to be doing anything to the 100th power. But some kids don't understand why learn multiplicity when I could just write it down twice, right? And the reason being is you could have a polynomial that big. So what if you had x to the 4th minus 2x cubed minus 8x squared? And they say, what are the zeros? And also be sure to list the multiplicities. Okay? So in order to find the zeros, I know I can't just look at that and tell you the zero. I have to do what? Factor. And when I factor, I always look for what first? Greatest common factor. Is there a greatest common factor? X is a factor, but there's something greater.
What? 2?
No. Not 2. What is the greatest common factor? X squared. So I'm going to take out x squared. When I take x squared out of x to the 4th, that leaves what? X squared. Bring down my minus. When I take x squared from 2x cubed, I'm left with a 2x. Take x squared from minus 8x squared. Minus 8, right? Alright. This happens quite a bit. I'm down to a quadratic. Every time you get down to a quadratic, you should do a happy dance. And go, okay, I know how to factor that. Alright? This is a trinomial, quadratic, and what's a? 1. Those are the easy ones. So how do I do that? Dx. And I'm looking for 2 numbers that do what? Multiply the negative 8, add the negative 2, to a negative 4. Now, because a is 1, now this is x plus 2 and x minus 4. Now, when you're trying to factor to get the zeros, you want linear factors. Linear factor is x plus 2 because it's x to the 1 to the first power. X minus 4 is a linear factor because it's x to the first power. X squared is not a linear factor. So how can I make x squared into linear factors? Can you break x down? How? X and x, right? Now, before I even started, I knew I had 4 solutions because it's to the 4th power. So what's one solution? X equals 0. Another one? X equals 0 again, but I'm not going to list it twice anymore. I'm going to put what? X equals 0, multiplicity, hope I spelled that correctly, of how many times is 0 solution? Twice, right? And then what's another solution? X equals negative 2. And it's 4. Now, if you wanted to, you could list multiplicity of 1, multiplicity of 1. Most people, they don't list a multiplicity unless it occurs more than once. Okay? Kind of like you don't walk around and say, you know, I don't have a twin. But a twin would walk around and say, oh yeah, I do have a twin. Right? So kind of the same thing here. If you want to list that's multiplicity of 1, that's multiplicity of 1. But you definitely have to list when the multiplicity is 2 or higher. Okay? Questions?